he's had a body in the trunk. I got one in a duffel bag. Help me get rid of this thing. It's too heavy. You don't pay no attention. You don't go with him. But after the first time that I'd seen one, I sure don't go with him. And then you're caught in a dilemma. Do I call the police? Do you call your mom? Who do you call? At the end of 1993, me and my brother Glenn had been cutting tobacco in Kentucky when I got into a fight and went to jail for a couple of months. When I got out, I headed for the hills to our old family farm. I went to the cabin up here to stay for a few days, and I noticed that all the furniture in the cabin had been thrown into the back room. And I walked to the back room over here, and I started pulling things out, to get some cushions together and some place to sit, because I planned on staying a few days. Well, I reached down to grab this blue blanket and pull it out of the way, and as I did so, an arm came out of the side of it. It shocked me to death. I wasn't sure who it was or how it got there. All I know is I wasn't going to be the last person to...
All over.
Glenn was under arrest, and the suspect killings. There was Cynthia Berger in California, Jean Ludwig in Michigan, Valerie Brooks in Kentucky, Kayla Mayberry in Louisiana, as well as Carrie Gaskins, Kelly Camargo, and Tommy Wolsifer in Ohio.
My phone rang nonstop in my office from agencies all over the United States and Canada calling, inquiring about our investigation and trying to find some link, maybe to some unsolved murders that they had in their jurisdictions. Basically, if Glenn is connected to a smidgen of these other agencies, there's a lot of bodies that he's responsible for in the United States.
My brother had been moving around the country like a tornado for 15 years. When police took a closer look, they found a pattern. Rare types of killings, bodies left in tubs, frenzied stabbings, and women burnt in cars. Were turning up in places Glenn had passed through, matching him like a glove. Journalists began checking on what my brother might have done.
I started walking the streets of Hamilton, asking people if they knew Glenn Rogers. I asked if there were any other unsolved murders in Hamilton at the time. And by now, this was about a year and a half after the death of Mark Peters, and soon found that indeed there was. There was an Emerson Skinner, lived 2 doors down from Glenn. Emerson Skinner died brutally, 28 stab wounds. Emerson Skinner was a taxi cab customer of Glenn Rogers. Right away, I started finding bodies. And every time I found a body, there was a trace of Glenn Rogers there.
Right hand there with the yellow.
Police decided to take a closer look at our cabin in Kentucky where Glenn had left Mark Peters' body.
Okay. We're searching for any evidence of human remains.
I learned later searchers found human bone and hair in 2 fire pits which could not have belonged to Mark Peters. A sign Glenn had killed at least another couple of people up there.
But for all the killings my brother was linked to, only one state could try him at a time. Florida said they had the hard facts to get Glenn convicted and put in the electric chair.
Tampa is the last place Glenn Rogers wants to be, but he lost his 6-month battle today to stay out of a state known for its executions. If prosecutors get their way, Rogers won't leave Florida alive.
From the first time I talked to him in Hillsborough County Jail, I told him his only recourse was to come clean, and at least that way they would know that he was sick to begin with, and he'd have some shot or maybe life in prison. He has something that he most definitely wants to say, not sure who it's to.
It turned out it would be a criminal profiler called Anthony Mioli who first wrote Glenn in 2009. He was trying to figure out what could turn a man into a killer, and Glenn began sending letters back to him.
Over the past 2.5 years, we've been writing on a regular basis. It took about 6 or 7 months before I received my first initial breakthrough. Rogers had revealed to me a traumatic childhood event that occurred with his father around 1975 or 1976, putting him around 13 years of age. And he went into great detail. It was the 1970s. I was forced to go to work every day at 3:30 p.m. with my dad, who was a janitor for the United Way in Hamilton, Ohio. On many days, he would bring a lady back with him and go to the basement. On one night, he did the same. Earlier, Mom had called about 10 times. I said he was outside working. She called me a liar and cussed me out over and over again. A while later, the lady came up from the basement and says, "Your dad wants to drink from the jug." The phone was ringing nonstop. She grabbed my face cheeks and says, "You be a good boy." I said, "You ain't my mom. You're a damn whore." She said, "Your mother's a stupid bitch," and walked down the hallway. I got really, really pissed, and the damn phone was still ringing. I jumped up, ran down the short hallway, and pushed her from the back down the basement steps. Then, out of fear from hearing my dad yell, I ran and hid in the closet. I heard screaming and yelling, and then all of a sudden it went quiet. It seems like forever. Then my dad calls my name. "You good for mother bastard? You done it now. You killed her. She's laying on the floor." I couldn't tell if it was blood on the floor or if it was wine. He said, "Boy, we gotta clean up this mess." Kept saying, "You can't tell anyone or they will put you in prison and beat you every day." I felt scared, but good also. It was the first conversation I ever had with my dad. In a strange way, it changed things forever. We got her, put her in the trunk of an '88 Oldsmobile. We crossed the Kentucky Bridge into Kentucky. Then Dad pulls over, drags her and carries her to the side of the road. Comes back, shuts the trunk, and gets in the car. He says, "Boy, a snitch is the worst kind of person. When we get home, you don't say a word." But what he didn't know is I wanted to brag to Mom and say, "I killed that bitch for you. She called you a name." But I knew better. After this, Dad didn't take me to work anymore. Didn't even look at me. He said, "Boy, you're no good. I can't take you anywhere." It wasn't any time before I stopped being scared. I hated everyone in our home. I spent the next few years taking it out on other people. If someone didn't like me, I didn't care. I just hated them more. To this day, I don't know if I killed her when she fell down the stairs or if he did, but I was made to believe I did it. Your friend, Glenn Rogers.
And nothing ever happened about it. It's not that hard to get away with. You dig a hole far enough out and deep enough, no one ever knows.